Welcome to the Perinatal Wellbeing Podcast. I'm Christine, your host and certified perinatal mental health professional. This podcast is all about authentic conversations. We want to open up the discussions around perinatal health and well-being, from mood and anxiety disorders to breastfeeding to grief and loss in the perinatal period, and everything in between. While this is not therapy or medical advice, it is the place where we are going to continue to open up the discussion around all things perinatal mental, physical, emotional, and sexual health to help reduce stigma and break down these barriers to support. On today's podcast episode, we are talking with Anneke Vandenberg, one of our good friends, who is here to talk about the stress around holidays, as parents with kids, the pressures that we are under from capitalism and kind of how it adds to that mental load of parenting, and how we see those gender roles sometimes play out during those holiday times where sometimes that stress can really fall to us as those of us who identify as mothers. So thank you so much, Anneke, for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Christine, for providing me a space to talk about this, because we connected over that, I think. And in addition to that, I think sometimes it's an isolating experience. Like, it's almost like, what are my kids missing out on? Because I just refuse to be part of that rat race. But then still be envious of people who do it, quote unquote, right.
Right. So, Anneke, tell us about kind of what that experience is like for you.
So we are Muslim, so we don't celebrate Christmas, Easter, any of those. Halloween is not really a thing for us either.
Yep.
But at the same time, I really suck at celebrating Ramadan or doing anything of that either. So I have completely opted out of everything, which makes me feel very juvenile at times. When I'm growing up, I got this and I'm going to have all these traditions and experiences. However, I do notice it's just not really important to me or my husband, who really couldn't care less about all of these things. But at the same time, Christine, I have to say, it's not that I want a Christmas tree, but I don't have any seasonal decorations. Like, my house looks the same the whole year. I don't have any like Ramadan banners or anything. Oh my gosh, I should get it. And then I go to a store and I'm just like, oh, this is not really nice. It's too expensive. That's my other thing. I'm not going to pay like $25 for like a weird table covering thingy that I don't really like, or I don't really understand how that serves a purpose. But I do feel like I failed in creating celebratory atmospheres or something. Like, every day is kind of the same, which I'm not saying it's bad, but I just suck at, birthdays. Like, I have nightmares, birthdays coming up. Like, I'm just like, do you want balloons? Please say no, please say no, please say no.
Yeah. Crossing your fingers.
Yeah. Do you want a birthday party? Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Yeah.
Right. I totally hear you. And like you said, we connected about this because of course there are, just to put this out there are people, I have friends who love to celebrate like any holiday. We're not just talking about Christmas, for example. I know we are coming up to winter holidays, winter season, and I know people who love to decorate for like everything. In my neighborhood where I live, people really go all out for Halloween and then Christmas. As a dog owner, it's kind of annoying because walking the dogs and they get like scared or they're barking at all these big, huge, giant decorations. But anyways, yeah, I don't either. I don't decorate. I mean, when my kids were little, I would maybe buy like a pumpkin picture or something, like put it on the door, like something, you know what I mean? Like from the dollar store to say like I did something because I felt like I had to.
We got one of those weird cats. I think it is still somewhere. Like also dollar store because we gave the kids like $5 because they wanted to have like Halloween decoration. And this is a while ago. You could still buy things for like less, like things, not one thing, for less than $5 from the dollar store. But like my kids wear the same costumes. Like I'm not getting anything new because it's too expensive, like a witch's hat or something, and that's it. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. See, and I was like different in that. So I'm also not creative when it comes to like things like decoration or costumes or like making things. I don't know how to sew, like things like that. Right. So every year I would just be like, okay, let's go to Walmart and I'll buy you a costume for $30 because that's easier for me. But then also I have three kids, you have four, and it's like, that's like $100 every year, and then they just never wear the costume again, and it infuriates me.
yeah. And it's all plastic. It doesn't even feel right. It doesn't. And in the end, they wear a jacket. Nobody sees nothing. Like I just have them wear like a hat or like a mask or something, and the rest I don't care about anymore. I'm just like, people are complaining there's not a lot of kids at the door. So like my kids will show up at your door. They're not going to be like, we don't go to many doors because they have seen it after an hour. They're just like,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
They will say trick or treat, and that's about it. I think that participation part is really important, but I do find that, as a culture and as a capitalism and a commercialism, it's really like everybody is talking about these traditions when they're pregnant or when they just have given birth, and it's just, oh my gosh, I have to do traditions, and all these traditions involve buying things.
Yeah. Money, spending money.
Money, and it's a lot of pictures. I don't have any family pictures, like literally none, because I hate myself in pictures. So I'm just like, you can live without me. You can look at my face. There's a couple of pictures there, but I just don't like the staged ones. I would love to have some fun pictures, but like nobody does that ever. Or they have to pay like enormous prices for that. Yeah. But it's a lot of like, oh, we're going to do like one book, like one thing to read, one thing to wear, what is the thing, and one thing, all these lists. And I'm just like, who came up with that? And it sounds all really nice, but it's a lot of pressure because everybody has to outdo each other or be more, or you have to do complete opposite. And then, no, we're not doing anything because we're like so eco-friendly. Like we go to the thrift store, and then my kids get like $20 and they buy each other gifts. Not that you can buy anything from $20 from the thrift store nowadays. Like it's like
Right.
capital prices there too.
Exactly. But you're so right. Like, so I definitely have always had that kind of mentality around, especially Christmas. So I'm not Christian. I'm not part of any religion. And like, I wasn't raised Christian. I'm not, baptized or christened or anything like that. So for me, Christmas it is not religious in any way. Like there's no religious tie to Christmas for me. So it's, when I was a kid, it was just about being with family and turkey dinner and fun stuff. But as a parent, and I have three kids, it's like, okay, but even just to get them a few gifts each still costs me like hundreds of dollars. And that feels like a lot of pressure. And there have been times where like that didn't feel feasible. And then I would say, okay, even if we could afford it, like I'm not going to go wild this year. I'm really going to just like get them the basics. Yeah, something you can read, something you can wear, something fun, whatever it is, that list. And then I start shopping, and then I fully am someone who marketing works on. Like I'm in the store and I'm buying them stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. I'm buying stuff for my kids and they're going to feel so good when they open them and they're going to love it. And it's gonna be amazing. So like, I'll just buy one more thing. Oh, now I have to buy one more for the other one. Oh, now
Yeah.
this is not even, I got to get the one for the other one. And then we got to fill the stockings because stockings are so fun. And then, a lot of money later, I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? But that like guilt factor is real. Like, I don't want them to go to school in January and they didn't get as much as their friends did. It's a lot of pressure.
And it's really like, I am a very bad gift buyer. I'm also a very bad gift receiver.
Okay.
I'm always, if I get a gift from someone, I'm just like, okay, now I have to pay you back. And how and when. like I have to get you some. So I'm really, really hard on myself with that. So I hate buying gifts for my kids. I
Right.
hate it because I'm just like, oh, like I'm like, for example, I'm a huge library gal. So I'm just like, why buying like computer games? They can rent them from the library. And then when they're done with it,
Yeah,
so I'm so happy if they know what they want. But it's, again, nobody ever gets their gifts in my family on their birthday because I found something and I'm just like, you're getting this for your birthday and you're getting it now because I don't know if this is, you know, it's like it's the middle of the winter now and you have nothing to do, so go do this. And they know what they want. But
right.
I can't come up with, like, sometimes I find something, I'm just like, yes, but that is, Christine, like once in a blue moon. Yeah, I cannot shop. I'm not a really great shopper. I will walk around and we just had a conversation about that as well. Like, people will go to dollar stores and they buy all these nice decorative things. And I just see a lot of stuff. I don't see decorations. I don't see opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's the like putting it all together, right?
Oh,
Like I said,
finding
oh, I'll just
seasons.
buy like one sticky pumpkin for the door and then we're done for Halloween, right? Then,
Yeah, but I would have to go in for a sticky pumpkin because I'm just like, and that's why I let the kids
oh,
choose. And I'm just like,
yeah, 100%. Buy it from the dollar store, stick it to the
yeah,
door, and we're done, but then
yeah.
it's like, it looks weird because it's just one little pumpkin on the door. Yeah, it's like that fear of missing out. And then I feel like my kids miss out. And I think, well, for you, were there traditions that you like grew up with that you remember that you loved? Like not just in terms of winter holidays, but any time of year. Like were there traditions that you remember?
Yeah, I'd like, there's certain, I think it's more foods related. Like we ate this, and some of it is not accessible here in Canada. Like we can get a lot. Like, oh, I'm Dutch, so it's not like exotic cuisine or something. Like there's quite some things that we can get. But when it comes to like stewing pears, I haven't found anything like that here. I love to stew pears, kind of. So either in wine or in grape juice. That grape juice would be my thing. These are things that I just still am craving, and I just can't get that. So that is a holiday season thing. Also, I have to say that in my family, we are a great family, but there was always one person in my family who acted out a lot on the first day of Christmas. So my mother had given up after a few. Like, she would not make a Christmas dinner. She was just like, we're eating something normal because then everything will just go okay. And she still does that until this day. So yeah, we did, like, we went to church and those kind of things, but it's not like certain TV programs. That's what I miss. Certain foods, but like a lot of that is also with, not being back home. Yeah, I think more that than any other traditions.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
sure, gift giving was a part of it, but I of course the meal, was always so
And we didn't do
lovely.
gifts. So in Netherlands, until recently, there were no gifts with Christmas. We had like the Sinterklaas at December 5th. Then people would have gifts. So when I was really, really young, I think until I was a teenager, we did not have any gifts at Christmas because that was just not done. So I don't understand. Also, I'm Dutch. Like, we are really cheap. Not that the gifts are cheap, but like it's not very elaborate, our gift giving. It's not like as extensive. And I think there are some differences when it comes to, I think here it's a little bit more commercial. I think now back home it is now too, but like in the beginning when I came here, that's not yesterday. That was like a long time ago. It was, the difference was bigger for me. The stress around buying and the buying into the Christmas experience, but I also find the amount of things that you have to do.
Right. So not just buying, but yeah, definitely the doing, which I want to get to. So what was that like for you though, then becoming a parent in Canada where gift giving is a thing? Um, what did that feel like as your kids got a bit older for you?
So my kids have never asked for anything. So that's a really positive thing. And I want to tell all the parents out there that I don't think that, we always say, oh, the kids are going to feel lonely. There's always going to be more kids in the classroom, at least in vast majority of Canadian communities. Kid is not going to be the only one. And like we were just very clear about it. Yes, it's very interesting. And yes, we can go look at the lights and we can do, we can get like stuff for sale after Christmas and then we'll eat the the treats, those kind of things. We can participate in that and that's fun. And yes, we have a day together and we can watch a movie and those kind of things, but there's no gift giving, and my kids have never complained about that. Never. They've never said anything. And they like now they would say, oh, like Santa, that's a little bit weird. And I say, don't say that at school. And that's what I find the hard part is that the Santa thing. So back home in the Netherlands by age 6, 7, nobody would believe in Santa anymore. But I see teenagers now that are still believe, which I find very, very difficult because I was so scared of Sinterklaas when I grew up, like the Dutch Santa Claus, but then the original, the
Yes. Yeah.
OG guy. I was scared of him. So my parents just told me when I was 5, because I was literally in July after my birthday. My birthday is in June. She's like, I got plenty of gifts. He doesn't have to come this year. Because I
Oh,
was so scared. And still, if he would be in supermarkets and stuff as an adult, I don't like to be in. And I love the tradition. I love everything. Like I like the narrative around it. I find it very funny, but I don't feel I have to participate in it.
right.
I'm not talking Black Pete. I'm completely no. There's that figure doesn't exist in my world.
Right.
We can do
Right.
without him. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it is. But I found for me it's isolating.
Right. Yeah. Explain that.
I would have friends who would do Christmas, but then automatically you're kind of left out of that whole thing. And it's just like even the Boxing Day still as I just said, like I'm not a huge shopper, so there was just a lot of things that I just couldn't really share. And then people kind of automatically assume that it's such a stressful season, which for me usually it isn't because everybody is so busy and I'm just like I'm sitting here with my empty calendar. Oh, we can't meet in December. We're so busy. And I'm just like, busy with what? Like, I can.
Yeah, and that's so interesting too that you say that because I definitely feel that December is so busy. And what I've done for a long time is I buy everything online. Like basically now this time of year, I don't really go to the mall that much, but especially now I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere near a mall. Or like if I can limit trips to like Walmart or like big stores like that, I will, like just to do our groceries, food groceries, that's it. So I would buy online, which is helpful. But yeah, then there's like, I took this approach of like, okay, I'm trying to not overdo it for the holidays. I'm trying not to feel like super stressed out because there's no way that that can be the point of the holidays, whether that's from a secular or religious perspective. Like, I don't think that that's the goal, right? And so I'm, trying not to do that. But then there's almost kind of like a guilt of like sitting
Mhm.
back and being like, I'm done all my shopping and wrapping and I'm not stressed. And yeah, my calendar's empty too. And like, then I would feel like this sense of almost not guilt, but like you said, kind of like, well, what am I doing wrong or like left out? Like I'm different. Like, oh, why aren't I stressed? Like, shouldn't I be stressed because everyone around me is stressed? Everyone around me is, going to 100 stores and like,
Yeah, but and I think that is something like if we're going to bring this back to the perinatal population. So if you're postpartum specifically, so when you just had a baby, I find a lot of people having the same thing and saying, "Oh my gosh, it's actually quite okay for me. I'm not that busy. It's not that overwhelmed. What am I doing wrong? Am I not having this experience?" But it's almost like and the same with mothers of young children that everybody and that was for me too. Everybody's constantly saying, "Oh, I'm so busy." And I'm just like, "Yeah, no, my house is not super clean and stuff, but I would love to meet up with somebody and I would love to see somebody." But everybody's all the time busy. And I'm just like, "You want to come at 9? I'm here. I'm gonna 3. I'm not going anywhere."
right,
And that was, and I think that was part of for me that isolating experience because I was never busy
right,
because I did not have. a social network. I did not really do like all these extra things. And I do think that we do have like a lot of the things too about traditions that I found very hard. Like people say, "Oh, we have to build traditions," but like if you start overthinking it, it's not a tradition. I think traditions are things that come naturally.
Right. Right. Yeah, instead of forcing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Cause and so many times I think about like what are traditions that our family engages in. And I'm like, I tell my husband this all the time, like, we don't do anything. We don't do anything with
Mhm.
our kids. Like they're gonna grow up and what are they gonna think about their childhood? Like they're definitely gonna talk about this in therapy. But
They are. They talk
yeah,
about
they're gonna talk about
childhood.
something in therapy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I feel bad, but then to actually go and do a thing, I'm like, I don't know. It feels like a lot. It feels like pressure. Like you said, it feels forced,
Hmm.
right? And I don't know, it is, but then I look around and I think this is where social media too plays a big role. Like when we were kids, we didn't see what everyone else was doing in their home because we didn't have access to that
Yeah.
information, right? Unless whatever your friends told you at school. But to see photos constantly, I find that a big activator for me of people's perfect Christmas tree or perfect holiday celebrations, whatever holiday, whatever time of year. And I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even I let my husband and the kids do the tree and I didn't even participate. I wasn't even in the house when they did it. And then a major part of me is like, thank goodness, because I don't like decorating a Christmas tree. And it doesn't really have meaning for me. Again, I'm not Christian and it's more for like it's just a thing in the house. But then I feel guilty about that. Like, oh, I should feel this like deep tie to this Christmas tree.
You have opinions how it should look, and there's different things that you're hanging in it, and they're heirlooms, and every year you buy a new one. Like we used to have that, but I think you're so right about you know not caring, and at the same time kind of shaming yourself for not caring. Like I should care about these things, but I do think every family has a lot of traditions, but because we don't frame it as traditions, we don't really honor them the way that they should be honored. Even though we'll like every year I go with my kids, we go strawberry picking, we go apple picking, we go to pumpkin patch, even though we don't get pumpkins because I find them ridiculously expensive and a waste because they stand outside. I'm not cooking them, and we do these things. So we go on hikes and we go specific places. We do a lot, really a lot of these kind of things. But there is not a like these are things that my kids aren't just like, oh, we always do that, and I don't really recognize that, and I'm just like, okay, but these are not holidays, and these are not, but they are seasonal. Like you don't go strawberry picking in March. I wish we live somewhere can do that. But like these are things that everybody is just looking forward to and participates in. And if we're late for the season, we'll still squeeze it in because that's what we do.
What you do? It's a tradition.
It's a tradition, but it doesn't feel forced because I just really enjoy these things. Like I love like we always go, every one day in the weekend, I need to go somewhere. We go on a hike and we go sit on somewhere. My kids play in the water. I bring like my thermos with tea and I bring like frozen things from the freezer that I froze when they were 50% off, muffins and stuff. And then I bring them, and by the time they're there, they're not frozen anymore. And I do that for as long as I can. But that's what I do almost every weekend. And then, but it's still feeling like I need to buy gifts. I need to decorate my home. I need to do the family pictures, even though I have pictures of my kids laying on the rocks and like in water. And it's weird, right? Like you still feel, and then also really being okay with that as saying, other kids don't have that. And just also saying that to your kids sometimes, just saying, oh my God, like they get like all these amazing, time to play video games. I said, no, we don't do that. Like, we do things together. That's really important to us. Other people, what they do is not my business. I just try to do the right thing. And they do understand, but then still feeling like, but maybe I should. Maybe I should give them whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I asked, so we're recording this on October 30th. Tomorrow is Halloween. I only asked my youngest, who's 11, yesterday, 2 days before Halloween, are you going out for Halloween? And he's like, oh, I don't know. No, I wasn't going to. I'm like, oh, well, so I was thinking I'm not buying any children any Halloween costumes because they're expensive and they wear it once and then we give it away, we donate it, whatever, but that's expensive. So I said to him, okay, well, I wasn't going to buy you a costume for all those reasons, and you can get creative and make your own. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to go. My friend's not going. I was like, oh, why isn't he going? Oh, because his mom's not buying him a costume. I guess for the same reason you're not. And I was like, oh, interesting. Because yeah, like milk is expensive. Never mind a Halloween costume. Everything's expensive right now. Right. So it's like, yeah, maybe I don't want to spend 30, 40, $50 on a costume. And I want to be able to feed you dinner, like, forgive me.
Yeah, but it's a little like that mental load, because who's going to take them? Who is going to plan it? Who is going to, then say, no, this is not the right one because you still have to wear your jacket, or, that defeats the purpose, or do you really want to go out in that? Because this is really questionable. I don't really want to buy into that because, 11, they get at that age that, you cannot just put them in a tiger costume anymore. Like, right? Like it gets a little bit like tricky. Like, I don't know, but for me, we have a couple of witches hats, and I think we have like and I buy them afterwards, and we have these for years, and we just recycle them, and I'm just like, yeah, you still fit your Spider-Man costume from last year, and it's going to be a cold one, so you have to wear your jacket anyway. Nobody cares. The masks, they go off anyway. It's too annoying to walk around in those, so nobody expects,
Yeah, we've done that. Like I've done that too. I think even last year I was like, you know what? Just pick something. You have this Spider-Man costume, wear that. I don't care. It's like a dress
Yeah.
up thing, like whatever, which is fine. But then when he said, like, he was kind of like, yeah, I don't really like, he wasn't bothered. He's like, maybe like, can my friend just come over and hang out? And I was like, yes, of course. But then part of me was like, oh my God, I'm a bad mom because I'm not going to take the kid out to go trick or treating for 10 minutes to get cavities. Right?
Can we not talk about teeth?
Sorry. Right.
No,
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 I
teeth
know.
are my thing.
I know.
Says
Right.
the woman with no cavities. Like,
I know.
you didn't grow up trick or treating, Christine?
I did, but I'm not a candy person. I'm a chocolate
Oh,
person. And I think that actually saved me because it didn't sit on my teeth as much as candy would. And also, I was very obsessed with my teeth. Still am, but when I was a kid, after like every meal, I would brush my teeth. After I ate anything, I would brush my teeth. So I don't know why. It was an obsession. And then touching on the mental load of parenting.
mhm.
So I will say in my home, when it comes to the mental load of parenting, I would say most of it is on my shoulders. I identify as a woman and as a mom, and I'm married to a man, my husband. And in our house, I do carry the bulk of the mental load. And so
Yeah.
that was the other thing that was coming up for me over the holidays, like having young kids and every holiday, every birthday party. Don't get me started on birthday parties.
Oh, I hate them. Hate them. Okay.
I
Yeah.
hate birthday parties.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I've wanted to say that out loud in a public place for a long time, and I'm going to say it. I hate organizing kids' birthday parties,
Oh,
having
I have
them.
one coming up end of November, and I'm just like already dreading it. And I'm hoping that there is a way, shape, or form that I can. Kid is turning 7, so it's like a really tricky age because you still have to do a whole lot of stuff. I don't want to pay $400 for some like anxiety inducing experience, and I don't have anxiety, but I'm going to go walk away and I'm going to be dead for 3 days after that, like, and then I will resurrect. But it's going to be exhausting. It's going to be like, and then again, the gifts that I get, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to get these people now gifts too, and I don't know what this is. Many times I just don't have a clue. The amount of gifts you get that look very expensive but are broken within 3 days, or they don't give you the batteries.
Yeah. And so it's like I was also getting to a point where I was fed up of like holding all of that in my brain and having to plan it. And I am someone who does have anxiety. And so it just felt like too much. And so I would say to my husband, like every year around Christmas time or running up to Christmas time, I'd be like, okay, you're going to do Christmas this year and you're going to buy all the gifts. Did it ever happen? No.
No.
I'm like, it's not rocket science. Like, I mean, it is because sometimes it feels like I don't have any idea what I'm going to buy these kids. But I'm like, just go on Amazon. But then I'm also thinking to myself, what, like, why? I'm just
Yeah.
saying, go buy them anything. Who cares? But then, so why are we spending the money?
Why are you buying anything?
Right.
So I am probably the only person in the whole of Canada who has never bought anything from Amazon.
What?
I have not. That's my husband's job. He shops on Amazon. I don't buy anything. I don't have an Amazon account. I'd never buy anything from Amazon.
Amazon, if you're listening, I have had an account since like 2002. Like I am an OG Amazon. I used to buy my books there and DVDs and yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed.
I can't do it. I think the amount of things that I have bought online is like you can really count them on one hand. I can't do it. I don't understand it. Everything is just, but why? I would just look at pictures and just say, that's really, really nice. I really want that. $10. That's too much money.
Right? I literally have like 3 Amazon orders that are coming between today and tomorrow. It's terrible. But this is what I'm saying. The marketing, it's like it gets me every time. And then I'm searching for
Yeah.
something and I'm like, oh well, I need this now.
No, so I
Anyways,
don't do the buying. That's my beloved husband. He just went yesterday and he bought some stuff for our vacuum cleaner. And he is just like, do you need anything else? And I'm just like,
yeah.
no, but that's always my answer. Nope.
Yeah, I'm always like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that like he does that. So he does a lot of the shopping in general, not birthday gifts. And he is just really trying to exchange things, like as in, oh my gosh, we can do this experience
Right.
instead of a gift. But we're going on vacation. Why would they need a gift? And he grew up without ever having his birthday celebrated. It's great. He still doesn't want to celebrate his birthday. He did not even know his birthday until he was a teenager. He thought it was a different day, but and it was not an important thing for him. But so he is just like, they're old now. Do we still need to do birthdays? Like, when does it end? Is it ever ending? And I'm just like, we have to, and then the pressure, but we have to celebrate something. And I think for a lot of parents, and especially when you have a new parent, that a lot of people say, oh my gosh, so much fun. First Christmas, first Halloween, under the tree, do these pictures, first birthday party, kid not going to remember anything. It's just for you, but you have to do something and all the expectations. And fortunately, I did not have a social like network or anything that anybody would ask me to do that, because, it was nothing like that. But I'm just seeing other parents and I'm just like asking them, like, but do you want that? What do you want? Did you tell people what you want? Maybe you don't want to do anything with family members on Christmas. Like, there's a whole holiday season. Like, how many? The 10 days of Christmas? Like, you could do something. I'm doing that the Saturday after Christmas. Then we're all getting together, or whatever that looks like. And then also, I used to work with like a large Orthodox population, so they would do it in January. Great, because they have a lot of deals by that time. So, you can switch like that too. But, I think we don't, like, we just assume so many things, and sometimes in our language. And I noticed myself as well to just assume that people are going to be busy, assume that people are going to be excited about it, and not so much like anxious about it or depressed because they might not have that social network. They might not have people that want to see them or feel like they don't have people that want to do anything with them. Um, it's very dark. It's very gloomy. It's like there. It's Christmas then for a reason, right? Like
Right. And I think the lead up, like, to it, it's like by the time you get to that actual day, like I know we've been kind of focusing on Christmas, but like you get to the actual day and I'm just like, I'm done. Like I'm so
yeah,
tired from this like running around for the whole month stressing about presents. And like you said, like even looking back on those pictures of when my kids were little and like looking at their birthday parties or Christmas or whatever, and I look at those pictures and I don't remember like super fun, happy times. Like I remember the stress and anxiety. That's what I see in those photos.
yeah,
Right. Whereas like just taking silly photos like at home or, we're like you said, going on a hike or we're camping or, something like
yeah.
that. I'm like, oh, I was like genuinely like happy in those photos. So yeah, it's so much. I think it's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of these expectations. I took the boys when my youngest was his first Christmas, took them to like Walmart to do the like holiday photos. Never again, never did it again. I'm like, I will just sit you all in front of a Christmas tree and take a picture with my iPhone because I was like sweating, stressed out. Like it was such a nightmare. They're not even smiling in the pictures. Like my youngest looks like so sad. The middle one looks sad. Like they were crying. Like it was awful. I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
never again.
No, and fortunately, most Walmarts have closed their photo studios, so you don't.
Right.
It's not there anymore. And I think that a lot of it is now, but like the iPhones or the Christmas minis and the Easter minis and the Valentine's mini. Why you don't book them to have pictures of your baby in like Valentine's or Easter with the bunnies or back to school or like graduation pictures for your kindergarten kids, which
Yeah.
really baffles me. Like everything, and I feel like the gender reveals, the 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 kindergarten graduations,
Yeah.
the grade 6 graduation, that's a thing nowadays.
Yes.
Everything has to be like celebrated, and I'm just like, I can't, Christine. Like I'm just, it's not that I can just only cope with the day-to-day thing, but it's just not something that comes natural to me.
Same.
And I think identifying that as early on and having a partner who cares even less than I do,
Yes. Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Like my
hashtag
husband's
blessed. Yes.
my husband's from Northern Ireland and he was like, why are we celebrating a grade 8 graduation? He's like, what is that even? Like
Yeah.
and even my son, like we got him a suit from like this thing they were doing in the community for like suit exchanges. So we didn't even pay for his suit because I'm like, he's wearing it for one day and never again because we don't really go anywhere where he wears a suit. And some of these kids, like, I mean, they looked good, they looked stylish, but like the amount of money that was spent, right? And it's like, of course, if someone wants to do that and like do the pictures and do the like birthday parties and whatever, cool, great. But I think what we're talking about is like holding that space for those of us that either, first of all, can't afford it. And there are times, especially when my kids were younger, where like we really couldn't afford that like $400 birthday
Yes.
party, but we did it anyways because
Yeah.
all of our friends did it, or that was like what was expected in our social circle. And looking back, like I think my husband and I both kind of regretted that we did those big birthday parties because we really couldn't afford it. And it
Yeah.
was so stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's for us too. Like, but because it was not important to us and because we didn't have that social circle that we're not expected to. But I think also leaning into what makes you happy. Like my kid went to grade 8 graduation wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and they were the only one.
Right.
And and I did not like, yes, it looked odd, but it's so massive, Christine. Like, we're not celebrating somebody's PhD or something.
Right.
It's just like a train of kids. There is no personal words, nothing. So I don't really get it either. Like, I have to say, like, not it's not important, but I'm just like, okay, I go there. I not that I want to miss it, not saying it's not. I go there, I sit there with like hundreds of parents,
Yeah.
you know, all the classes get rotated and everything. Nothing I see walking up to the stage, getting, I don't even know what they get, like it's somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they get off, and then it's like, bye.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's, and again, like I think celebrating milestones, cool. Yeah, great. But these are all also social constructs. Again, like my husband never heard of this because they don't do that in Northern Ireland. Like, so for him, he was like, I don't understand why we're doing this. Like, I'm like, I don't know. It's a thing here. Like, this is what we do, Yeah. I had a grade 6 graduation, right? Like, yeah. And you think about a whole graduation party when you're like 11 or 12, like, really? And for some people that's important, but I think it's like when there's so much pressure and like to spend money and do things we don't want to do, like that's where it's not okay, you
Yeah.
know? And to be able to hold space for that. And we say we do like, oh, like don't make fun of kids if they don't get Christmas presents. But then it's like, but that still happens.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
it's not even about the not fun. It's almost saying, okay, if you don't get it, there must be, because financially they can't afford it.
Yeah,
Or, they're
exactly.
struggling otherwise. No, it could be a decision. It could be just saying,
Yeah.
no, we're not doing it. Like right now, like thank God and everything. We are in a time in our lives that we could afford. Like many years we couldn't
Yeah.
afford anything really, at like the extra stuff,
Yeah.
because just refused to pay into that because there was no money for that. We could now, and I'm still like, no, I'm not doing it,
Yeah.
because it just never, and the thing is, it just, for me, it just never ends. And that's what I'm seeing around me. There's very few people that I'm seeing who are really happy. They are really going into the Christmas saying this is the best day of the year. And then everybody of the family thinks that. Or going into like the Halloween, even like
Yeah.
going into Halloween and just saying, this is relaxed for me. This is just fun. It's never just fun. It's never just like a good time together. It's always feeling that you should have done a little bit more. Probably you are thinking, maybe I should have gone. Maybe they have something for sale. Maybe I should have, might be his last year. Maybe I should push a little bit more because it is, it is a goodbye and this and that. Like,
And they're only little for so
yeah,
long. And we hear that
yeah.
so often in so many different parts of parenting, even like when we're struggling with parenting and when we're parenting little ones and like newborns, and if we're struggling with our mental health, then people
Mhm.
go, yeah, but you'll be out of this soon and they're only young ones. And I'm like, thank God the newborn phase doesn't last forever because I wouldn't be able to cope.
But the memories you will have, Christine, the memories. And I'm just like, I don't remember like a lot of things, like these things that you have to, like, okay, for me, the only really festive day is when Ramadan is over, because just, I don't need gifts. I can just eat whenever I want. And then I will have, okay, that's nice for the first half of the day. And then the rest of the day, I'm just have like either the runs or completely constipated because my stomach is not used to
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 eating
deal with
all the
that.
time. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, but I do like, that is really for me. Okay, you go from a period that is really different back to like what is normal. So there's like that festive atmosphere. But every year I'm just like, I'm going to decorate, and I'm just like, it didn't happen. And then people are like, oh, you should get things after Christmas because it's all with the lights and the moons and stars and whatever. Of course, didn't happen. I'm not doing that. Yeah, but I think one thing that we also really don't pay attention to, we don't really ask our children sometimes. Yeah, is this really important to you right now? Or if you're talking about Christmas, what are some things that you would like to do? And how can you help with that? Because sometimes I think we take a lot on, and our partners as well. I think most of us have a pretty good like relationship, or at least some division of labor happening. But just also with the kids, especially when they're getting older. Okay, if you want to do that, you know yeah, what are you going to do? And oh, this is not my thing. Like, if you want to make cookies, you can go bake cookies, you can give your father what you need. He will do the shopping. I will do some overseeing here. But if you want to do that, that's no problem. You can do that. It's not going to be our thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, all of this in this topic today, again, of course, we touched on the mental load of parenting and motherhood, but like you said, just realizing for yourself and your own family what is important to you and to your family, and like, what do you have capacity for? What do you want to do? What do you not want to do? And can you really explore that for yourself and your family, and then do what you need to do to parent from your own values, whether we're talking about holidays or, those hot button topics like sleep training and feeding and, all of those things.
Mhm.
It's like, it has to speak to you. It has to be in alignment with your values for you to not feel as stressed out or anxious about it.
Mhm.
And if it's not, like, can you soothe yourself through that? If you decide, okay, this year we're not doing the big gift thing or the big birthday party thing. And can you soothe yourself through that and, just take
Yeah.
care of
And
yourself?
also understand, because I think that, like, I liked how you said, like, this year we're not doing it, because a lot of us feel if we're not doing it this year, then it's just over. And just saying, if you skip a year
Mhm.
and just say, unfortunately, this year is not going to, because like I'm 2 days postpartum, or I'm just not feeling it, or something else happened in the world that I'm just not feeling like celebrating, which is something that is pretty close to me right now.
Of course.
That we're just like saying that doesn't mean that it's forever. And somehow we have got this idea when it comes to traditions, the moment you stop it, it's never going to start again. How we came up with that, if that is your intention to continue doing it, you will continue doing it. If that is something that you value, you will continue doing it. If it's something that you don't want to do, but you feel like because your mother has done it or your father has done it, families or generations, it's okay to stop it too.
Absolutely. And I love that. Yeah, because the pandemic was a good example. Just for me, I'll be honest with you. Obviously, it was horrible. COVID was horrible. And there was parts where I was like happy that we didn't have to do birthdays, birthday
Yeah.
parties, and that kind of stopped the like big extravagant birthday parties for us. And then we pared them down and we've continued to do that since, but we still, have had gatherings with friends or whatever, but I didn't like spend as much money and it was still fine and they still had fun. So you can also change that tradition around too, and go from there. Lots of stuff, lots of
We could
pressures.
talk about it for hours, Christine. And I think, with whatever holidays are coming up for you and for your family, what big events are coming up for you and your family, you know, capitalism is a thing, commercialism is a thing. They want you to buy into things, and some of it is wonderful. It might work for your family, but I really want to encourage people to also think about, but like, what do I want? And that can change. That can change. You can say, you know what, I wanted to do family pictures every year, and I'm just like, I don't want to do the matching pajamas anymore. I'm sorry. I want to wear this negligee instead. I don't want to be seen in this, Christmas tree or ugly sweaters,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
Hallmark movie.
Yeah,
Oh, the Hallmark movies. I'm sorry. Like, that's a whole
I've never
different.
watched one.
No, I've never watched it either. I've watched
Mm.
like 10 minutes and I'm just like, can't do it.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
people love them. And I'm just like,
People
I
love them.
think I'm just not made for this.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. Well, thank you so much, Annika, for having, a real conversation. And again, I just want to reiterate to all of you out there who go all out and who love celebrating every little milestone, go for it. That is
Mhm.
also totally okay. And we just wanted to hold space for those of us like Annika and I who don't do all those big celebrations and who sometimes kind of feel left out or isolated or like we're not doing enough for our kids. I feel like no matter how big or small we go, there's always going to be that feeling of like, I didn't do enough or I'm not good enough.
Yeah. And we see you, the ones who are like, doing it all out. We know it's a lot of work. That's why we don't do it. But if it's something but also for those who are just like, I'm really like trying to do it, but it doesn't come natural. I get that too. I really do get it. And I do see families that are having amazing get-togethers, but for the ones who are organizing it, that's a job. I'm just saying it. And it might be worth it for your family. And I'm really, really, kind of envious. And I always will remain a little
Yes.
bit envious of that.
Same. Absolutely. I agree. Thank you.
But I'm not planning any weddings or anything for my kids. I'm just saying I'm not going to be like one of those mother of the bride zillas.
No, just
No.
invite me and I'll show up and eat and be merry.
Oh no, I'm just like, you don't have to do a wedding. I already tell them. I'm just like, I don't want to do
for
this
sure.
because I don't want to buy anything.
Totally. Right. I don't want to buy you a gift. Fair enough.
No, a dress for myself and have to. Are you kidding me? I just want to go hiking in the woods or something. Just do it somewhere on a mountain. I will come.
True. That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe our kids should just all get married to each other and then we're just done with it.
Why not? It'll be amazing. Yes. All right.
Ages match. We'll find some,
Yeah.
We'll work out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anneke. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please share this podcast with any of your friends or family members that you feel would benefit from it. If you feel you are experiencing any of the symptoms or issues we talked about today, please reach out to one of your supports or go to perinatalwellbeing.ca for more information, podcast episodes, blog posts, and ways to connect with us. Check out our new podcast episode every other Wednesday.